show on Sunnylanka. I'm your host Priya, and today we'll be making a very simple vegetable dish. It's a Mallung, which is basically a stir fry of greens, I guess, of any sort. And today we're doing Kale Mallung. Kale or collard, a very dark green leaf vegetable. It is very popular in Sri Lanka. More than the kale, I think the collard, or even they would actually cabbage leaves is used a lot. So all of these are from the same family, the same cabbage family, and kale is very healthy for you. It's very high in iron. It has tremendous antioxidant power and overall great. Lots of people juice it, but today we're just going to be having Mallung, and it's served very well with rice and enjoyed with any of your other curries. So let's go through the ingredients. I have here one big bunch of kale. It works out to about a little more than 1.5 pounds, I guess, and chopped very fine as you can. And if you are able to chop it really fine, then you can even cut up some of the stem part of it, not the too tough part, because then it gets very fibrous, but the more tender parts of the stem, like I have here. Okay, the other things that we would need is a small onion and 3 dry chilies that have broken up, and a sprig of curry leaves that I've just taken off the leaves and put it all together. I have everything together because it's so much easier to start frying. The next thing you'll need is half a cup of shredded or grated coconut. Fresh is good, and if you can't get fresh, you can also use desiccated. But what I would do is soak it in a little bit of water for a while, and then squeeze out all the water and then use it rather than in its dry form. So half a cup of coconut, oil for tempering, and salt to taste. We'll also be using a pinch of mustard seeds. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm using a heavy bottom pan, and because I have quite a large amount of kale, when it wilts down it needs the space, and so I'm using a really large pan. Put in a little bit of oil, about a tablespoon. Put in your mustard seeds. You'll hear them crackle if the pan is heated up. So once you hear the mustard seeds crackle or splutter, then you can add in your onions, red chilies, and curry leaves. Give that a good toss. And you just want to slightly brown your onions. So this is very much like a stir fry, so you want your heat on medium high to high. I'm going to do something a little different than what I usually do, is add in the salt to taste now. And the reason I add it in now, I would add in less than I usually do, because it helps brown the onions quicker. So, and then it also distributes the salt everywhere, ready for the kale. Kale is extremely healthy for you. I highly suggest that everyone consume kale at least once or twice a week. It is rich in iron, especially for women and children, but I'm sure the men can use it too. And see, my onions browned really well, and it's just slightly brown. I hope you can see that. I'm going to toss in all of my kale. Pardon the back of the pan there. And since I put in my salt, I'm not going to add in any right now, but I will get a chance later to taste it and add in any if I need to. So I'm going to toss it in so that, you know, I can bring up some of the onion. And if I want this bright color to stay, I shouldn't put a cover on the pan. If I do, then it loses its color slightly, but on the flip side, if I put a cover on it, it wilts faster, the cooking time is reduced, and the water that condenses on the top of the cover or the lid will go back into the dish. So I'm going to give it a mix and put a cover on it. Okay, so there. It's wilted down. Okay. I'm going to reduce the heat down to a medium-low, and give it a quick taste to see if the salt is good enough. It needs just a little bit more of salt. Add in my salt now. So the salt really does help brown the onions faster, but I wouldn't put all of the salt in just in case it was too much. This is good. I mean, or else if you're comfortable, you can go ahead and do that. So yeah, it's needs to cook down just a little bit because it is sort of a tougher leaf and needs to cook a little bit more. It can be consumed raw, just to let you know, so it's all right even as it is. But I'm going to put a cover on it for not more than a minute. Okay, so it's been a minute, and see, I returned all of the condensed water back in. Give that a good toss. And when I added in my salt the second time around is when you can also add in Maldive fish chips, and that's optional, but it does bring a nice texture and flavor to the dish. I'm not adding it in today. Okay. So there, the kale is completely cooked. My salt is to taste. And then I can add in my last ingredient, which is the coconut, grated coconut. Just sprinkle it all over and toss it in. And I tell you that the coconut really is what makes the dish, because otherwise having the kale by itself, it can be eaten, which is fine, but it has a little bit of a bitter taste to it, and the coconut just brings it home. Like, it makes it so much more tasty, especially for the kids, and the aroma, it's just amazing. That was all under 10 minutes. We are done. How simple is that? Let me serve it up. So there you have it, folks. Today's dish, Kale Mallung. It's so easy to make, and as you can see, it is a dish so quick to prepare. Once you have the kale chopped up, I think that's what takes the longest. To put together, it's under 10 minutes. Who can go wrong with that, right? So try it today, and I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please do share your results with me. You can leave me comments below, or even on my Facebook page at Sunnylanka, Sri Lankan Homestyle Cooking, and I would definitely love to hear from you. So until next time, ayubowan.